anyways, so that's guilds for you, and that's basically the technology tree. That's kind of, I did a very quick run through of the entirety of human technological development in very compressed form here. Obviously, like I said, this diagram is not perfect, but if you're going to summarize, history of human technological innovation, then this might be one place to start to look, looking at this. So what I will do is I will provide a link to this, so you can look at this diagram on your own time, look at it in more detail, but hopefully you got a broad overview of just how far we've come to, have things like computers, robotics, all the advances that it took to get there, starting with something simple as pottery, mining, for example, or the wheel. So that's the technology tree. Now let's go back to our empire here. Let me show you the new developments that have elapsed since we last looked at this. We built a new city, New York, over here. That's they're harvesting these plentiful fish resources, so they have a pretty good food surplus there. Some new settlers are getting ready to split off from that city and colonize new lands. I'm thinking maybe up here in the tundra. It won't be an ideal area, but it'll be better than nothing. And what else have we done? We've researched some technologies, learned how to do sailing, archery, priesthood. We've come up with the idea of having a permanent priesthood manage affairs in our civilization, which allowed us to implement the bureaucracy economic civics. So we have this priesthood bureaucracy managing our economy, instead of just sort of kinship networks of extended families trading with each other. Here we have more of a priesthood bureaucracy managing things. For example, in real history, in ancient Sumeria, they had one of the first examples of this. It's also referred to by the term palace economy or temple economy. Basically, the way these palace economies worked is there would be a priesthood that would basically live in the city's main temple. And zoom in on our capital city here. And all the farmers in the surrounding countryside would be called upon to bring their produce into the temple, where the priesthood would accumulate it, they would tally it up, and then redistribute it to the craftsmen in the city, to widows and elders who couldn't work and things like that. So it was kind of a very primitive welfare scheme that was presided over by the priesthood. And they would actually physically store the grain and livestock at the temple and distribute it from there. So this is a way of taking wealth from the countryside and concentrating it in the city, in the hands of the priesthood, where they could decide what to do with it. And so that's kind of the idea of what this civic is supposed to do for us. So for example, we see this is our production. It's being boosted by 50% for our capital city because we're running this this bureaucracy civic. Because basically we're having the farmers bring their goods in to the capital city to put at the hands of the priesthood to redistribute and assign to various projects. So that's one change that we've made. We've also developed a little Let's see here, can we? But there's a little cottage right here. We started putting down some of them, in addition to our farms and stuff. So we're starting to develop some little villages out here in the hinterlands. We've almost finished researching writing, and we're actually almost ready to go to war against the Vikings. Not because they've done anything bad to our civilization. They're actually quite friendly towards us, and we're trading, I think, crabs with them. So relations have been fine, but the thing is, they're kind of crowding our civilization into this little corner. There's not a lot of room for us to expand unless we take their lands. So unfortunately, I hate to be sort of Machiavellian and ruthless here, but I'm gonna have to tell him his head would look good on the end of a pole and declare war. Fortunately, so that our civilization can obtain greater wealth. And we'll capture his defenseless worker. And here's his capital city here. He's got a few military units, a few thousand soldiers probably defending this. Let's take a look at the demographics. I've got 52,000 soldiers. It's unclear exactly how many soldiers he has. Let's see if I can... Here we go. He's got about half the military forces that I do, so we should be able to conquer him relatively easily. Let's move in our forces here, and we'll move this archer up. And let's see what happens. He's got a workboat there. Alright, so let's send in the archers first to kind of bombard things. Okay, that one was unsuccessful, but we did weaken some units. Each of these single units stands for several thousand soldiers, so that should give you an idea of the fatalities that we are taking here as our units die, unfortunately. Another loss, but we're weakening his units. Let's see. Alright. Success.
At your service.
Let's try a little bit more bombardment, and we'll send in the foot soldiers. Alright, that was a close battle. Let's send in some javelin peltists. And we'll send in a warrior. Maybe one more, I guess, because they've got some city militia that has stood up to protect their city. Alright, we have captured their capital. Yes, we will go ahead and install a new governor. We could raise the city to the ground if we were being sadistic, but I think we'll keep the city and govern its citizens. As here now we are apparently the Empire of America. Because of how ruthless we have been with our expansion, we are now known as the Empire of America, no longer the city-state of America. So we'll go in and garrison this city. And we'll send this guy up here. Let's see, these... What shall